We interrupt your regularly scheduled program to bring you another episode of We Can Help with Dave and Woody, already in progress.
No, in all seriousness, Dave, before we get started, I think that's absolutely fine for you to talk about that on the show. You shouldn't be embarrassed. Well, you shouldn't be embarrassed.
Well, that makes me feel a little better, Woody. So I'll be sure to bring that up as we get a little further along.
Hey, we're back.
We are indeed. This is our first Wednesday in a while, right?
Yeah, the last 3 weeks, I think.
What are you signaling to me?
I'm counting. That's how I count. You know, I got in trouble for that at work one day.
Flicking somebody a bird?
No, it was a pretty heated meeting, and one of the vice presidents was in the meeting or whatever, and he was rattling off numbers and stuff. And it was during an outage or something like that.
You took your shoes off?
No, I did like this. I'm going to do exactly what I did on camera so people see, but I'll explain it. I looked up at the ceiling like that to kind of, how you kind of doing math in your head. Oh man, he got irate. He's like, "You would roll your eyes at me one more time." I said, "I'm doing math over here." I said I wasn't rolling my eyes at you. And he was all like, "Oh yeah, well, I never liked that guy, but
you should have said, I'm a savant, idiot."
That would have gone over really well. But yeah, I still remember that to this day. I'm like, "What are you talking about? I'm not rolling my eyes at you. What are you, that self-absorbed that you think everything's about you?" Yeah. So needless to say, not one of my favorite leaders.
Let's get him out in the open. What's his name?
His name is, never mind. Just in case. I believe in
Warren
never
Buffett.
burning. Yeah. And that young man's name.
Yeah. All right. Well, that happens.
It does.
There's always a knucklehead in every organization, I always say.
Unfortunately, I don't run into him too much. I give everybody the benefit of the doubt.
That's where you're wrong.
That's where I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Just assume everybody's dumber than me. Is that the idea?
They're gonna be assholes for the most part.
No. That. Yes, I get what you're saying. Okay. I just meant in general, most people have good intentions in business.
I guess so. I agree. Did we say we're back? We did. It's a Wednesday. We're on a Wednesday. We're kind of on schedule.
Yeah, it's odd to be back on this. So on the way home, I just want to get this out of the way. I think we should have a competition about whose method of getting more listeners works. You telling everybody not to listen, and me telling people to listen.
Okay,
we'll see who gets more listeners.
Okay, so wait a minute. How are we gonna? We can't have that in the same meeting. We can't do that in the same night.
Oh, I just meant this going forward kind of thing. Not just.
But how do we? This is a measurable goal, but how do we do that?
We'll ask people at some point. We'll put out a survey poll asking how they came about the show, if they heard it through other channels or they heard not to listen.
Yeah, I think I remember some ogre telling me not to listen. That's why I defied him.
And to despise him. I'll show him.
I'll listen twice. That son of a gun.
On the way home, I was listening to other podcasts, and they said the best way to get podcast numbers is to do other people's podcasts.
Yeah. So what you have to do, it's like Bonnie and Clyde. They robbed banks because that's where the money was. So you have to go on other people's podcasts because podcasting listeners are unique. And so you can't just blanket market to the universe. You have to be in the wheelhouse talking to people who listen to podcasts. And so you go on someone, that's what I've done a couple already. You go on some guy's podcast.
Yeah. Is that what those big numbers bumps were?
Well, we got numbers to report. Thank you very much. Paydays, big paydays, buddy.
Woo.
I want to go over that share with our people so they can really see
just how diverse our listening audience is.
Yeah, somewhat. But anyway, so to your point, that's right. So when are you going to go on another podcast? do your part.
Oh, that was kind of my pitch this week to people on the show is all those who have a podcast, I'd be happy to participate at some level on your show as well.
You're a closer, Woody.
I know. Actually, I've reached out to a couple podcasts asking, for plugs and or reciprocal
Joe
interviews.
Roden or who?
Joe Rogan, yeah,
Why do I keep calling him Roden? It's Rogan.
the chick, who's what do we call it? I can't think of her name now. Married to the Kelsey that went #1 a few weeks ago. Anybody in the top 10 I've reached out to.
And they've responded with, love to have you.
Yeah, exactly. Just put it on my calendar kind of thing.
Well, what he's talking about is we've committed to visualizing Spotify's top 100 podcast to be there within the next 2 years. We've been on the air now 2 years as of March 3rd. I know it's hard to believe because we're experts and professionals, but we're coming up on 100 episodes. In fact, this episode is going to be season 8-12, isn't it?
This is the last episode of season 8.
What is this 100 up in the corner there? Is that something
Well, you said it's a top 100, right?
Oh, okay. I like that. How did you do that? I want to get one of those.
I just remember that's one of the emojis out there. People throw it up occasionally. It's like 100% behind you, or it could have a nefarious meaning that I'm not, and people are giving it to me to be defiant, but I don't know.
So having said that, we're on the hunt. So I've got a couple things to talk about tonight. We've got new listeners. First of all, we want to address this. I think it's happening with that when we call out people's hometown, they get a sense of pride, and they say, wow,
yeah,
we're making a difference for our city.
Maybe they float a banner up for us that say, listen to We Can Help with Dave and Woody, or don't listen to Dave and Woody, depending on whose side they're on in this debate.
Well, I guess depending on the city that we call out here tonight, there could be an uprising that people, like a mandate
Very
says,
nice.
Please, whoever's doing that, stop that. But we do have some new towns I want to talk about. And I also wanted to go over, not necessarily talk about the amount of money we're making, but the frequency that we're getting paid.
Oh, wow. All right. So Chumba Casino is coming through?
I think it's now that's interesting. I was in Orlando this past weekend on my trip, we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But I was listening to one of the podcasts because we're trying to get some ad rolls. I got to listen to it myself. And then it started playing this ad for a home and patio place in Kissimmee.
Oh.
And I'm like, it's Kissimmee, you idiot. It's not Kissimmee. And so I don't know where these people are from, but they obviously had a Northeastern accent, the people that own the patio.
So it was you think it was a local?
Yeah, it was a local ad
locally recorded ad. Obviously, it was playing because your IP address was in the area.
Yeah.
But all right.
But they kept saying Kissimmee, and I'm like, no, it's not Kissimmee.
I think people say that you don't think they were doing it to get your attention?
No, because they had another tourism thing that rolled while I was down there, and they said the Kissimmee Orlando Tourism Bureau.
Gotcha.
So they had it right. But anyway,
right.
I got a couple cool stories. So let's see. What do you want to do? What's going on with you? How was your week?
Very uneventful. So I didn't make many notes this week. In fact, my phone just timed out on me. But that was the one thing about being on other people's podcasts to generate, some advertising. So
why don't we let's make a goal.
Get on one or two.
Well,
you have more connections than I do. So
why don't you take something that you enjoy, like your woodworking stuff, for example, or something technical, and make a short list of say five shows and put it out there. Because as we know, people are always looking for guests. Maybe you don't want to tie it to technical since you're always afraid of your true identity being released.
Yeah, well, maybe in that sense I would, but yeah, you're right. I see what you're saying.
Is it okay if we mention that you're, the WP thing that goes on with you? Witness protection.
Oh, well, WP, what? I was
Is
trying
that-
to think it was like fake last name. Yeah, I don't want that to get out, that portion to get out, because then I
Okay.
got to move for the 15th time.
Yeah, that's why we're moving.
Yeah.
Because they found us.
Yeah, but you stay within a 5-mile radius.
Yeah, but
That's
it
the
keeps them
problem.
guessing, because where I live, there's not a lot of bright people.
Gotcha.
All right. Before we get too self-inflicted here. Well, what do you want to do? Pay schedule or new cities?
New cities.
Okay, let's go to cities. So just so everybody knows, we are playing now in 13 states. Woohoo! And three countries. We're in
Oh.
Europe, pretty big.
Excellent. Yes. Good.
Just to hit that, we're in Madrid, Spain.
Wow.
Cinco de Mayo.
Right.
We're in South Holland, the Netherlands. Hang on a second.
Hey.
Alexa, volume 10. Alexa, how do you pronounce Spijkenisse?
I pronounce that Spakenissa, but I'm always working on how I say things and I might not have it right.
She was a little loud at the beginning
Oh,
there.
I'm sorry. Spakenissa.
Oh, yeah.
Spakenissa, South Holland, Netherlands. And then we're in the United Kingdom, England, at the Canary Wharf.
Ah, big in the Canary Wharf. I see. Very
Yeah,
good.
a lot of birds. Ooh, I have an update on that too, by the way. Hold on, the American.
Wow. You want me to just drop off, let you do the rest of the show?
Well, I've been carrying the heavy lifting for so long. I'm starting to get used to it.
I come to expect it.
Okay, so those are the countries. Let's get to the cities. Drum roll, please. Okay, that was elaborate. All right. Cities, where are we? We're number one state we're in is Florida, of course.
Of course.
Middleburg, that's where I live. Orlando, we must have picked up. I have a few people in Orlando.
Yeah, who was in Orlando listening to the show?
I think Big Steve's down there.
It wasn't you just this week?
Well, that's true, but Big Steve, I think, is a regular listener. And I hate to say just one person's name because that's all we've got are one people. But I'm sure there are more people in Orlando that are aware of us, but Big Steve's leading the charge. Jacksonville's on the hook. Orange Park, kind of my neighborhood. Fort Lauderdale's back, and we picked up a couple new ones here. Ocoee. That's out by UCF, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah, I'm trying to. No, are we thinking of Oviedo?
Yeah, I always do that. Ocoee's on the west side. Ocoee's West Orange Park.
All right.
Orange County. Ocoee, Homosassa. That's over on the west coast, Homosassa Springs.
Oh,
I think it is. I'm thinking Tarpon.
is that where like Silver Springs is and the
No, I'm
glass bottom
thinking-
boats?
look it
I'm not.
Alexa,
typing
where
that
is
in.
Homosassa, Florida?
Homosassa,
Florida.
Florida is a census-designated place in Citrus County, Florida. It is located 59.0 miles from Tampa, Florida.
West
She want to drop in which direction?
Coast. Yeah, not really. Back up in
It's
Fleming
west.
Island
It's 50 miles west of Tampa.
in the Gulf of America.
Oh, here we go again.
And then we're rounding out in Gainesville. So Fleming Island, then Gainesville. So
Big
we're
at the
in
University of Florida, obviously.
9 towns and cities in Florida. The next one is California, number 2, with Pilot Hill, McKinleyville, Los Angeles,
Woo,
big LA.
picking up in LA.
Yeah, Orange County, baby, OC.
That's Daniel Tosh listening. I've been trying to get on his, but speaking of podcasts, I've offered to go on his.
Okay. And then number 3 is Tejas, or as my friends say, Texas, and we're in Dallas, Little Elm, and Fort Worth.
That seems to be a consistent listening audience for us. Texas.
Dallas and Fort Worth are when I worked for a furniture company that was out of Fort Worth, Texas. Dallas was glass, chrome and glass, and Fort Worth was cowboys.
Isn't there like a big auction?
Yeah, that's the
thing? the stockyards or whatever.
Stockyards. Yeah.
All right. Did you ever go to that while you were there? Did you
Mhm.
sell furniture to the stockyards, like
Well, there's a
stools?
hotel there. There's an old Western hotel, the Stockyards. They used to put us up in.
Oh, okay.
And Gillies used to have a
Hmm.
big dancing place there.
Yeah, you don't anymore.
I think he died.
Oh, well,
You get-
still
you got-
stay open, you know.
He got gored
Get out of
by
here.
a longhorn.
You're
know.
wrong.
I don't
Oh,
know. Anyway, next state is North Carolina, Tar Heels, Charlotte, and Concord. That's Woody.
what?
Charlotte and Concord in North Carolina.
Oh, I thought you said Tonkin. I've never heard of Tonkin. So,
Number 5, massive two shits.
oh yes,
Chelmsford and Springfield.
we
Number
know that
6.
listening crew for the most part.
Number 6, Indianapolis.
Oh,
I think Larry Bird's
yeah.
doing anything.
No, my racing buddies probably it's that time of year for them to pile into the Indianapolis 500. So,
Okay. Number 7, Arizona, Scottsdale. They must have picked up on that time when I was talking about golfing out there. It was about 130 degrees.
that and yeah, could have been. Word got out.
Number 8, Virginia, Ashburn. I never heard of that.
Okay. How many more cities we got to go here?
Hold on. Number 9, Washington State. That's where 420's from. Number 10, there was no city. Number 10, Wisconsin, Rhinelander. Okay. Oregon,
Cheeseheads.
number 11, Oregon, the town of Beaverton. A lot
Makes
of beaver
sense.
out there.
Yeah.
Number 12, Nevada, but no city.
Maybe it's
round-
unincorporated Nevada.
Yeah. Number 13, maybe it's the Mustang Ranch or something like that.
Oh, yeah. That's closed. So I heard.
You're not on the mailing list anymore. I guess that gift certificate ran out finally.
Gift
Dang it.
certificate.
Number 13.
That'd be a funny gift to give someone.
Have it show up and wrapped up in the Christmas. Your wife
Do it one of those like neighborhood parties or something, for someone's birthday.
white elephant.
Yes. Get a gift certificate.
Some prostitutes. That's good.
That'd be awesome.
I'm so doing it. All right. Number 13.
Yeah,
the
I
final-
think I will have to remember that one too. So,
Ohio, Columbus, Ohio.
all right. Very nice.
All right.
A
So,
lot of college towns we're hitting.
well,
Beaverton, Columbus.
we're pushing this big in the Sigma Chi group on LinkedIn. So I'm
That
wondering
is true. That is true. Gainesville.
if any of you Sigma Chi brothers are out there listening. We appreciate you so much. You'll find
Yeah.
it here, just a little bit over here to the left. You'll find it right. Oh, right there.
Yeah. Pay your dues.
Yeah, that's right. Pay your dues, loser. All right. Anyway, so I was kind of excited about that. I like to check in with our new listeners every once in a while and stroke them if it is, as
Oh, I
it were.
thought you were supposed to tell them not to listen, Dave.
No, that was just a thank you. I
Oh.
am doing something else I want to embrace. There's a guy out there called Mr. Thank You. I don't know if I want to go that far, but and I want to make sure that it's genuine because you can do this and be disingenuous and it comes, it's not good. So I'm going to start thanking people. Just random.
In general.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first stuff that doesn't even make sense. Like, what? What? No, I'm serious. I want to take a moment, pause, and those people that have been involved in my life that have helped me some way or facilitated something, I want to say, you know what? I don't know if you get enough credit for this, but I want to say thank you. I mean, that means a lot. So I appreciate you. Getting a lot of
Well,
traction with it.
Will I be getting one of those?
Not so much.
That's good to know.
We have a 17% increase in payout too, by the way.
What?
Yes.
That's huge. That's
17
better than the S&P's done this year so far.
17.72% increase in payout.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's immense. So 10 to 17 cents?
well, I didn't do that.
Yeah, don't do it now.
Yeah, we'll talk about it off air because
That's
the last thing
embarrassing.
we knew is Wikipedia putting out our net worth on the TV like that. All right, you say something for a while.
Well, I was just looking like I do every week, but we don't always get to it. I was looking at like birthdays and who died on this day. And I was starting to talk about this when your microphone went into chipmunk mode
Yeah,
there.
that was weird.
But Charlemagne, when I hear Charlemagne, I hear it a lot only because I do crossword puzzles, and for some reason that's a common answer. And I never looked up what it was. I always thought Charlemagne was some sort of Egyptian ruler, yeah, female ruler, Charlemagne, but it's actually a Holy Roman Emperor. Did you know that? I don't think I knew that. He was king of the Franks. You know any Franks?
Hot dogs?
Yeah, yeah, that's what he's famous for. King of the
Red
sausage dog.
Hots.
Yeah, he was king of the Franks, king of the Lombards, and first emperor of the Romans, and what was later called the Holy Roman Empire.
Yeah, the Franks were the French.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I
And the
didn't know that.
Lombards were the Luxembourgs.
The Lombardi, right, was part of that lineage.
The coach?
Yeah,
Yes.
Charlemagne Lombardi.
Alexa, what is the origin of the Lombards?
Here is an answer from an Alexa Answers contributor that I translated. The Lombards were an ancient Germanic people who originally came from northern Scandinavia, probably from the region of present-day Sweden.
Not even close.
That's
Dave.
our listeners.
That's right. That's the people over in
Yeah.
Skogan. What is that?
The Lombard. I don't know how to pronounce it. You have to get her to say it again.
Shit, where is she? South Holland's Quebec Peak is thinking the whatever.
Yeah. So there you go. So
Alexa-
Charlemagne once ruled over them.
Alexa, who are the Franks?
According to an Alexa Answers contributor, the Franks were a Germanic people who invaded the Western Roman Empire in the 5th century. They originated along the lower Rhine River and were composed of various tribes. They established a powerful Christian kingdom in present-day northern France, Belgium, and western Germany.
There you go.
These are our listeners. Belgium. That's up there.
Yeah, we had Spain in there. That's close enough, right?
Espanol.
But, so anyhow, Charlemagne. I don't know why I
Sounds
never.
girly.
Yeah, that's what I said. I always thought it was some sort of
I
Egyptian
bet that dude could
ruler.
fight, though. What do you think?
Well,
A guy like a name like Charlemagne, you better put up your dukes.
right? Yeah, because he probably got bullied as a kid, right?
I don't know about bullied, but I guess bullied, picked on. Hey, Charlemagne,
Yeah.
nice kill.
Hey. Yeah, exactly. Nice kill. Charlemagne can't add without looking at the ceiling.
Charlemagne rolls his eyes.
Nice. But anyhow,
You call
that was
a sword,
interesting.
Charlemagne? Come on. That's
What's
more than-
that?
You call that a sword, Charlemagne?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I missed it. I was talking over it. Other notable birthdays today of no particular order. Marvin Gaye, Alec Guinness.
Gay.
Yeah. Yeah. Emmylou Harris.
Marvin
And
Gaye,
then-
he and his
Oh!
father were close.
No, didn't he kill his dad or something?
I think his dad killed him.
It was that it? I can't remember which way it went. I knew there
I'm
was
sick
some
of you making all that money on those music you're doing.
Yeah, I know. And well, and also speaking of death on this day, John Paul II, Pope John Paul II passed away. The John Paul most people know.
From the Beatles?
19th, yeah, from the 19th century. So he died in 2005.
Yeah. I knew that.
Interesting. No, you didn't.
Well, I knew one of them did.
In
Imagine-
2005. Why does 2005 stick out
I
in your
don't know.
mind?
Why, I don't. The thing about when they change their name, isn't that? I mean, wasn't my name good enough? Why do you have to change it?
When you get when you join the Catholic Church, that is one of the things you do. You take on a name, and supposedly you should choose a saint.
What's yours?
I chose. We talked about. Yeah. How'd you know? What gave it away? No, I picked Joseph because of the carpentry and Joseph. And my take was, I mean, you got to think the commitment this guy had to the church and so forth. his lady comes home from an outing pregnant, and he's like,
Oh,
"Oh
yeah,
yeah,
sure.
yeah, exactly." And he goes full in on, "All right, it
Yeah.
must be." you
Yeah.
know?
Immaculate
And-
Conception. Oh yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And he was a carpenter. And I'm thinking, this guy, talk about faithful. That
Or
is
gullible.
it's some sort of faithful. So that's why I chose Joseph as the saint. That, and I really didn't do a lot of research.
Hey Joe.
Yeah.
That's last week we got, no, I don't know if we got spiritual or not, but we did have a moment, and you bring up something that most people overlook on the story about Joseph and Mary, and that think about the time that they lived in, and she was probably a teenager. She wasn't like we have adults now.
Well,
that get
people
married.
didn't live past 30, so yeah,
And they weren't married, and she was pregnant. So
Right.
can you imagine the scuttlebutt
Yeah.
that he had to endure, and she had to endure, and
what's odd is very little is written about Joseph in the Bible. I mean, it's down to like a sentence or two is about the extent of it. And I'm not a theologian by any means, so I can't really speak to the,
No,
to
but
all
your
that.
point is valid. He was not a principal character, other than it's hard to say that he was the father of Christ, because he
Right.
wasn't. You know what I mean?
Right.
He was
But he
married.
did find the manger. I mean, well, he found an inn with no room and had to get
No,
him
he
set
did
up.
his part. He got married to Bethlehem. That's where it had to happen, and he stood by her and stayed by her. That's a
Well,
pretty
till the
cool
golden
story.
frankincense showed up. And then he was
like,
he was burning one in the back with the boys.
Okay,
with
stop.
the
Now
magi.
this is not going to help our show. One of those was embalming fluid, by the way.
Oh, is that which one is called?
I think. Oh boy,
frankincense, myrrh.
Alexa, what was myrrh used for?
Here's something I found on reference.com. In historical times, myrrh was used as a medicine, embalming agent, and incense. Myrrh, which has been around
that
for
funny?
around 5,000 years, was used by the ancient Egyptians in the
All
embalming
right,
of
all right.
bodies and as a face cream.
A face cream. Okay.
Well, we put rat poison in our face now, right?
We do.
Yeah,
Botox?
Botox. Yeah, that's rat
That's
poison.
not rat poison. That's dead animals or something. What do you call that? It's Botox.
It's a nerve agent for one, right?
No,
Isn't
it's
that-
botulism. Okay. Alexa, is
How large?
Botox botulism?
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Alexa,
right.
what is Botox?
According to Wikipedia, botulinum toxin, or botulinum neurotoxin, is a neurotoxic protein produced by the bacterium Clostridium botulinum and related
Mhm.
species.
Yes.
Botulism.
Yes.
The old
Yeah.
botulina
So
from the Latin and the Greeks.
that begs. That's one of those things that, as a first timer, right? Who's the person who thought botulism? Let's inject that into our face to tighten it up. Who's the first person who came to that rationalization?
Dude, that's you have your boardroom game that you play, but that right there is something that I am totally intrigued about. Like with different types of foods, for example, like mushrooms. Who in the wild kingdom decided that, hey, look at these weird things growing on the trees down here. I think I'm going to eat one. No, Bob, don't eat that.
Well, then what begs the question is the bad thing about mushrooms or fungi is that some are toxic, right?
No,
and some are good. So it's like, I had one of those. Bob, you try that one. All right. He's down. Oh, okay. Let's not try that one again.
So my theory is people were watching animals. So they would see like a deer walk up or a squirrel or something, and they would say, okay, well, the squirrel ate it. I should try it. There must have been some failure along the way, that someone with quickly broke out the notepad and said, okay, this one's no good. Don't eat this one. I don't know.
The one with red dots.
Yeah. That's something I've always wondered about.
Hey, listen, we only got 15 minutes left, believe it or not.
No way.
Yeah. And
Are you serious?
yeah, so you need to get to your travel story this week.
Okay. Well, I'm going to keep it simple, I think. So, some of you know that listen to us. I am the my school's FBLA advisor, Future Business Leaders of America. Hello, Chris, out there, if you're listening. And we just had our State of Florida Leadership Conference down in Orlando at the Hilton Orlando. In case Hilton's listening, they'd like to send us a couple $100,000 to be a sponsor.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Hilton Orlando, great place.
Marriott too. Don't forget Sigma Chi.
Yeah, that they screw them because I've always asked for the brother discount. I never get it. So
There's no such thing, is there?
I'm a Sigma guy. Isn't that enough? No, I'm sorry, Mr. Let's move on. Anyway, so we loaded up the bus. We had 2 buses, and I was in the hosting hotel. By the way, that's the way to fly. Don't ever go to the overflow hotel because that sucks. And I had 10 kids, 10, 13, 14, 15-year-old children, and 1 to 10 was my limit. And none of these kids had ever traveled with me before. And so the first day they were playing cat and mouse and trying to sneak around. And so, which is this is expected. And so it was like breaking horses though. There was 2 things going on. They were not being self-starters. Everything they got to where somewhere they would say, well, what do I do? What do I do? So we have a text chain that we do together. Everyone's on this chat. And
Yeah,
so,
Signal Chat.
Yeah, Signal Chat. And so as soon as they would say something, I'd say, we need self-starters. We need critical thinkers. Look around, quit asking dumb questions, go ask an adult, go figure it out,
Right.
And so about halfway through the first day, Friday was pretty brutal. We had to get some speaking challenges done, some competitions right off the bat, and get checked in and get everyone kind of lay of the land. So Friday went on till about 11 o'clock at night. But we got everybody taken care of. I don't know, we made it through it. But I did have one, I'm going to make one little funny story. So, some people put tape on the doors for their kids when they're on one of these trips like this. And so at curfew was 11 o'clock. And I went.
Oh, on the outside of the door.
Yeah. So I went,
Okay.
got my little office chair that was in my room. And we were strategically located near the elevators, which is a good thing in this one. And so I had one main hallway where all my kids were. So I put my little office chair with a bag of meat sticks. That's what I had for dinner that night.
Oh, that's nice.
And a drink, and I was a drink of water. And
so you sat in the hallway? I'm sorry, I missed that.
Yeah,
part.
I sat wedged up against the wall with curfew at 11 o'clock and watched each one of them kind of crack the door open to see and then they would go, crap, he's out there, So
you should have issued each of them a laissez-passer.
A laissez-passer, that would be a free pass.
It's a document allowing the holder to pass or a permit. So that's word of the week, people.
From the French.
Laissez-passer. Yes, French, 20th century.
Okay, so then it's well into, I've eaten the meat sticks. It's 11:30, 11:45. I'm going to turn in, and I don't usually go to bed till 12:30, but I'm tired and I'm thinking about going to bed. And so I finally get changed into my shorts. The other thing is when you're on a travel, I sleep in a pair of shorts and a t-shirt, and I don't want to get a knock at the door, and then I have to get maybe, I don't know, dressed or whatever. So
yeah. Never mind.
Yeah,
That's
I like to make sure
inappropriate.
everyone's in bed before I, disrobe, so to speak. Anyway, so I go over to the bed. I'm ready to get back in there. And I hate going to hotel rooms. People sit on the sides of the bed and you break down the beds. I try not to do that. But I've looked through the peephole the last time. I thought I heard someone run by. So I look, you're glaring through the peephole and there's a shadow goes by, but nothing of it. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to bed. So I go to sit down on the side of the bed and put my glasses down, and I hear this boom, boom, and I'm like, God, son of a gun. And that's when I'm opening the door, right? So I get up real quick, fumble for my glasses, and now I'm exhausted. I had a feeling that you're kind of feeling
like you're just ready to throw your eyes closed, right?
Yeah. And so I'm fumbling through the wall. The lights are off. I get over to the door. I don't want to run too fast because I'll be knocking my feet around. And I put my eyes up to the spyglass and nothing's going on. So I stay there for about 30, 40 seconds. And I'm like, okay, going back to bed. So I make my way back to the bed, put my glasses down on the side, and go to sit down and swing my leg across, and boom, boom. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me.
But now it can't be. There's got to be 100 doors on your floor.
Well,
How do
there
you know
are,
which one
but
of your
I don't.
kids?
I got to check, and so I back up over there again. So this time I'm leaning against the door so I get my peephole properly lined up. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to stay here because if they're doing what I think they're doing, they're bound to show up.
Right.
So then I'm almost asleep on the door. So the third time I
Mr.
finally
Theus
say,
wakes up at 4 a.m.
he's got a crick in his neck and his back's all wiped out.
Uh,
So finally I said, screw this. I'm going to bed. So I walk myself back over to the side of the bed, sit down, and there's that noise again. And then I said, wait a minute. So I stand up, sit down again, boom, boom. And there's a metal pan or something under the bed that as I sit down, it goes boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, son of a gun, man. I spent the last 30 minutes chasing the door back and forth. So, I mean, they could have set fire to the building at that point. I wasn't getting up. So that was
that's
a
awesome.
fun
So
story.
were they ever guilty of getting up?
I don't know that night, but the following night they played.
There's only so much you can do, right?
Well, it's a big place. We played a little cat and mouse the next night. We'll save that story for some other time. But
All right.
Everyone did very well. The kids were ultimately good. I would invite each one of them back, and they finally came to grips that I knew what I was doing.
Are you getting are at any point are you going to talk about if anybody moves on?
Oh, I'm sorry. So we blanked.
Oh, really?
So yeah, we had
That's unusual for you.
Well, we had 4 speakers, and the 3 never got called back. So
Okay.
I thought one was going to make it, but she didn't get called back.
Oh,
And this year felt like there were more speakers on a per capita basis. It felt like we had more people who spoke competitively than there are a lot of people took
Right.
tests, but from a pound for pound status, we had more speakers. And so the one girl who did the mission and pledge thing, she didn't have a callback. She was in the final anyway, but she didn't make it. And so then we were
Okay.
down to 6 testers, and we didn't find out about them until at the awards banquet at the
Right.
the ceremony. So none of my kids moved forward, which I'm kind of thankful for because I'd had to go to Anaheim, California.
yeah. So I would say so. No Disneyland trip.
No,
You
but the
did
kid-
Disney World, and you could have done Disneyland.
yeah, the kid that I took to state nationals with me last 2 years ago, he's in high school now, and so he took second place in the state, which he did last year.
Oh, good.
And then he went on to nationals in Orlando, and I took him then as
Right.
and then he didn't do well in that cycle. So now he's back at it, second place in the state, and he's going to California. And he's going to go with another group of advisors. They don't need me to take him.
Well, he's in
So-
a different school now, right?
Yeah, but there was some scuttlebutt that if someone didn't want to go to California, then he was going to be left out.
I got you.
And I would have probably volunteered at that point. But the
Right.
3 people, they have kids that qualified at the high school level, so they're going to take them.
Good.
So we're excited for him, and I'm building a bench. So I have 7 out of 10 are 7th grade.
You going to trade for anybody?
Well, we may
Yeah,
have
ship
a
a
kid,
kid.
I got a kid I'm recruiting in one of my classes. He could be a standout.
Did you get
So-
any of that ILA money or whatever? What's that money in college? now?
NIL.
NIL money. Give these kids $5 if they come to club.
Well, the only thing I look at is, I said it before, I see it as a feeder program. So if I can train these kids up so when they finally get to high school, then they've already been to state or national convention. They're already ahead of their peers. You know what I
Yeah, and
mean?
they know what to expect and how to.
Yeah, they're
you know,
good
prepare
travelers and
accordingly.
good preparers, and they'll come into their own at high school. And the high schools, that one kid had 4 high schools chasing after him. So
How can you have 4 high schools chasing after you?
we have an open. We have these programs, whether it be IB, STEAM, dual enrollment.
Oh,
Each high
that kind
school
of
has
stuff.
yeah.
Okay. We
And
have
so,
charter schools here,
well, we have
but
charter as well, but this is within the public. The charter is
okay.
public, but it's yeah. So they get a choice as long as there's an opening. They can pick and choose.
Okay. I didn't realize that. So,
Yeah, so it was a good trip. I was tired, but I'm glad I did it, and I'm glad I'm not going to California. So that helps.
yeah. Well, that would be, I would have been interested to hear your California story. However, well, we have listeners in LA now,
Yeah,
apparently.
that would
So
have been
that
fun
would
to
have
do a
panned
show
out.
out there.
Yeah, exactly. I would have come out, but since you didn't make it,
We
I'm
can
not
still
going.
go.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to California later this year.
When, are you going to be out there in the summer?
Yeah.
Can I join up with you?
Oh, absolutely. We're going to McKinleyville,
To a wedding?
California. Yeah, 2 weddings
Can
actually.
I be your +1?
Yeah, sure. You said +1, not +1.5.
I was going to say +1.5. Well, it'd actually be almost +2, but anyway.
Well, I didn't want to offend you that much.
I got broad shoulders. But
Okay.
that would have hurt. Okay.
Oh, do you have anything else you want to talk about before we wrap it up? Oh, by the way, I'm totally out of the tournament at this point with Tennessee's loss. So I cannot. So I made it to the third, not even through the third round before every one of my teams lost.
So I guess Baylor is the only one I had that was the final.
I was amazed that all top seeds made it to the Final Four. I don't think I can't remember the last time that's happened, but it must happen enough that it didn't make headlines anywhere that I saw. So
I did have one thing, and I'm going to be very careful, but there was this fellow at this Florida thing that I went to, and clearly an Indian, and an Indian,
Asian Indian,
no,
or American Indian,
American Indian.
Oh, that's not offensive, Dave.
I had a friend of mine used to do that. No, not this one, but this one. So I'm looking at this guy, and immediately I'm like, Kimosabe. So, but he's a, what is it Trump says? He's right out of casting. He's got the real long jet black hair, real long. Right. He's got the chiseled features. I mean, the guy was 6'4" easily.
Wow. Okay.
Just broad shoulders, 200. He was a handsome fella.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And so I'm like, this guy's got to be Indian. And so
Seminole, probably.
He's Seminole. And so here comes his wife, and
his wife.
Yeah. She's got a Seminole. I don't know if it was his wife or not. Maybe it was like a fellow advisor or something. She's got a Seminole dress on, with the color.
All right. I'm sorry. Back up. I thought you were talking about a kid.
No, this is a dude.
It's like a 13-year-old kid has a wife.
Well, he is an Indian. I mean,
no, he got married early.
So he's an adult, and I wish I wanted to go up to him and talk to him, but I felt like,
yeah.
Don't
do it.
Yeah. So actually, we sold them a lot of furniture.
The Seminoles.
Yeah, the Seminole tribe. I can't remember the chief's name at the time. We got him pretty good on some furniture.
I bet you were embarrassed to go up and talk to him. You were a little red faced.
The chief or the fellow at the show?
The fellow at the show.
Well, I didn't want to look like I was some sort of weirdo. I mean, it was bad enough I kept looking at him and stuff. But then he had a couple ladies with him in the big Seminole dress, the colors.
Right. Yeah.
Right. It was actually kind of cool. I mean, he had a kid with him that he brought from the reservation, I guess.
I'd say that was probably from the school on the reservation, one of the reservations.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Anyway, it was cool. He was the real deal.
Interesting.
But I kept wanting. I was going to sneak a picture of him. And I'm like, if this guy catch me, it's scalping time. At that point.
Jeez. Anybody knows me that's listening, I do not associate with that brand of humor.
Oh, now you don't. All right, that's all I got.
All right. Well, you know what? It's time to say goodnight anyhow.
It's time for Spaces, is what it is.
Oh, Lord. All right. I'm giving you 13 seconds this time.
Okay, that's the whole thing. All right, so listen, folks. As we said, let's carry this through. See what happens. Let's see. We got some extra states. Maybe we're on a roll here.
All
Here's the
right.
deal. If you're inclined to YouTube, we're on YouTube. First of all,
Yes.
we can help
Yeah.
with Dave and Woody. Let's just get that out in the open. We have a YouTube channel. We're out there. We put this to video. Sometimes it's on time, sometimes it's not, but most of the time it is.
For the most part.
No, she does a great job. So do you. But the reality is, don't watch it and don't subscribe. Whatever you do, please don't subscribe. We're gonna do
I
this.
dare you not to subscribe.
Well, I don't even want to do that. Just forget.
Oh, okay.
So, and we're also on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Podcast Addict. And whatever you do, don't listen to it. Okay. Which is kind of a weird thing, because for you to hear this going
It's
on
like
right
a
now,
Spinal Tap thing,
which
right?
means you're already listening to it.
Don't look at it.
Yeah, don't.
But if you are listening, pop over to Spaces right now on X, and
Right now.
we'll be there. Yeah, right now.
And that's at Dave and Woody Pod at X.
Mhm.
Dave and Woody Pod. All right. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. As they say, no, I won't do that.
Just say goodnight.
All right. Good night. We'll see you next
Good
time.
night.